Let's make some cheesecake. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make a burnt Basque cheesecake. It's one of the easiest cheesecakes to make, very forgiving, but it's so tasty. It's super simple, and it's the best thing to whip up and bring to a party. People will be impressed. And this specific recipe, I've done a lot of tweaking, a lot of testing to make it just right. So, if I might say so myself, it's pretty fantastic. So give this a go, and let's get right into it. Let's go. All right, let's get started. You're going to need a mixer for this and some vanilla. So we're going to take our vanilla pod, just cut it in half, and I'm going to cut the half into a quarter. I'm going to use half a vanilla pod for this recipe. So just scrape out the little beans, just like this. Look at those delicious little pearls of tastiness. They're going to add so much to our cake. Let's place it onto the whisk, just like this. And then we can add 580 grams of cream cheese, followed by 240 grams of mascarpone cheese. God, I love mascarpone. And we're going to add 180 grams of sugar. I'm just going to add half of it here, then start mixing at maximum speed and just incrementally add the rest of it in, just nice and slowly, just like this. Okay, once you've added all the sugar, you're going to keep whisking it for about 5 to 6 minutes. It's going to get a bit fluffy and incorporate a bit of air into that cream cheese, and it's going to get nice and soft, just like this. Now we're going to add 4 eggs, whole eggs, and they weigh 217 grams, just so we have the same size eggs. That's without shells. And you're going to add them one by one until they're fully incorporated. And at this stage, this is a very important part, you turn the machine off, take the whisk out, and we're going to scoop around the edges to deattach any of that cream cheese that might have attached to the side of the bowl. It's a very important step, so we get a nice smooth consistency at the end. I've seen a lot of people where they have lumps, and this is why, because you need to deattach it. Now we're going to add 430 grams of cream. Just slowly stream that in until it's fully incorporated, and then keep mixing for a few minutes until it's nice and fluffy and thick consistency. It's very important to incorporate a lot of air into this cheesecake batter so we get a nice, smooth, fluffy consistency at the end when we cook it. Alright, so continue beating for quite a few minutes until it starts to look just like this. You see a little ribbon starting to appear around the edges. That's what we want to get. Nice, thick, fluffy consistency. This is looking just about right. Okay, now we're going to add 42 grams of flour. I'm going to sift that in with a sifter just to make sure there's no lumps, because we want a very smooth, delicious cheesecake at the end, so lumps would ruin that. Once you've done that, add 1 teaspoon of salt, that's 5.5 grams, and then we're going to mix it again for about a minute just to incorporate these last 2 ingredients. Okay, you can see that ribbon on the sides, that fluffy consistency. And that's what we're trying to get. So make sure you have that when you're making your own batter. Okay, this is looking just about right. Let's turn it off and we'll get ready with the cake tin. Now I'm using a 25 centimeter diameter cake tin, and you don't need butter. We're going to add baking paper into it and just press them into each other and interlock. And then we can add the batter straight into it. So we're just going to pour that delicious batter in. Look at that, nice and smooth, no lumps, perfect batter. Once it's all in there, you're going to give it 2 stern taps. So 1, 2, there we go, and into the oven. Now I've preheated the oven at 220 degrees Celsius, that's 428 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the first 15 minutes, we're going to cook it with convection fan on. Then we're going to turn that fan off and cook it for another 22 minutes. And then we'll have the perfect burnt Basque cheesecake. Look at that jiggle. And as it cools down, what's going to happen is these sides are going to come in and it's going to collapse a little bit. That's perfect. And once it's collapsed, we put it in the fridge and we're going to let it cool for a whole day until it's ready to eat. Okay, so there we go. Now you know how to make the most amazing cheesecake in the world, pretty much. The only thing that might be better is a jiggly cheesecake from Japan, which I'm working on making the video now. One thing I should mention is ovens are different. So every oven is different. If I get the same one as you and the same brand from the same manufacturer, there'll be slightly different temperatures when you dial it in. It's just a problem with ovens, really. So if your cheesecake is a little bit more underdone than mine, then put it for a little bit longer in the oven. If it's a little bit overdone, then put it a little bit less. I like the middle to be very nice and soft, and as you go to the outside, it gets a bit more harder. But yeah, just keep that in mind when you're doing that, because all the ovens are different and we can't really get the right calibration. Even if you get one of those thermometers on the inside, it's not great. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, share it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Goodbye.